This is Kathy, and I'm here today with our newly elected mayor, Layne Wilkerson. And I thought maybe we just take the opportunity to ask him a few questions about what he's experienced in his first month in office and some priorities that he has for our community. So, welcome, Layne.
Hi, welcome. Thank you, Kathy. Good to be here again with you.
What do you consider the priority issues that you all are dealing with just right out of the gate?
Well, for me, it's a lot of the things that I campaigned on, and it's economic development, economic diversification, and growth for Frankfort, as well as quality of life issues as well. But also, what took precedence, of course, in 2020 was COVID-19. So, on the one hand, we have to keep an eye on the COVID-19 situation and making sure that our vaccinations, we're getting everyone vaccinated. And our health department, and we just did a COVID-19 update within the hour.
Yeah.
And we're making sure that our residents are vaccinated, but really that depends on what the supply that we get from the government, state government. And really we're vaccinating everyone. We're using all of our vaccines. So that's the number one priority. Ancillary to that is our small businesses. We need to make sure that we take care of our small businesses and we continue to give them assistance, which the city has done with CARES money over the past year. I think the city's given out over $900,000 to local businesses, up to $10,000 each. So hopefully that has provided some assistance. And I realize some businesses have larger expenses than others, and that $10,000 probably means more to some businesses than to others. But we are getting that money out. Additionally, our commission is looking at ways where we can offer some type of voucher program if it makes sense, so that we can allocate city funds to a program so that we can enable residents to shop at local businesses, participating businesses, and hopefully leverage. We provide some funds on a gift card, so to speak, and then our citizens can then go spend that money and hopefully spend more than they would originally have spent. So we're also looking at something like that. We haven't yet voted on that. Well, we have voted, but we need to look at, we needed more information before we voted yes on that. So
yeah, you need some logistics on how that will work, and if there's administrative fees and stuff like that, I'm sure.
And if the administrative fees are too high, we will look at just allocating money directly, hopefully. But that's something we need to do soon, though, because February and March are critical months for a lot of small businesses.
Right.
And then we just need to use our soapbox as leaders here and say, all Frankfort residents this year in 2020 shop local Frankfort. So Valentine's Day coming up, eat out in Frankfort if you can do it, or carry out. Buy your local gifts here in Frankfort if you can, and do that throughout the year.
Well, I tell you, Cable 10 and FPV are doing what they can to promote that as well. We talk about shopping local all the time on our show, and we want to encourage people to do that. Anything that we can do to help promote our local businesses, we want to be sure that we do that as well. So we're with you on that.
We thank you.
So I know when you first started in your first meeting, we talked about some strategic initiatives or specific initiatives that you had in mind for our city. So I thought I'd ask you about that and kind of why those are important, and just kind of your thinking process on how we can make those happen. So why don't you tell us a little more about the strategic initiatives consultant and what you think that person can do for our community?
So this role, and the way I envision it, is that it is meant to be someone, I think, big picture, I think since Frankfort is at a critical time, even before COVID-19, Frankfort was at a critical juncture, in my opinion. And I felt like we could use some extra power, if you will, to help us break through and get some of these projects off the ground. And since COVID-19, I think it's even more critical now that we come out of this really strong. I think this new position will help us it'll help us connect the dots between project management of some of the plans that we've initiated over the years, such as the Downtown Master Plan, the Riverfront Development Plan, Home Street Redevelopment Plan, you name it. But kind of overseeing that, but also bringing opportunities to the table, both statewide and regionally in an economic development standpoint, tourism standpoint, and then also be a liaison with leaders, not only in state government, help us open some doors throughout state government, but also with key businesses, individuals, and families throughout the state to bring more opportunities to Frankfort. Further, I think this position will help. It'll work with the commission and develop a strategic plan to help us make good decisions and help us prioritize on what we need to focus on and help us determine what Frankfort needs right now.
That's great. So what is the status of that initiative right now?
We're working on, well, we passed on the last voting meeting for us to extend the contract. We're still working on that right now. We hope to have something finalized in the next week or two.
Okay.
And I want to really, this is not a new position that we're creating within the city hall. It's not going to be a new position that will have benefits or we're not going to be paying into their pension. It's going to be, if this person proves indispensable, we hope that it is a long-term position, but in a way we're trying it out here. It's going to be, we're going to see if it works, and if it does, then it's something that could be more permanent.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. That sounds exciting. I think it's very important to have someone who is like the point person to be focused on specific, like you said, strategic initiatives, things that are going to move us forward and be very important to our community, because there are just so many things going on really in our community. Right. It's hard to keep focus on just one thing. So another thing you talked about was the remote worker incentive program. Now that sounds very interesting to me. So how would that work?
Well, this, and as I envisioned it is, we would have an incentive toolkit or a package. I think an incentive package sounds better. We would provide assistance financially and other assistance with our local partners to encourage remote workers. Now, these are people, I need to be clear here, these are people that already have jobs. They already work for companies spread across the country, but they aren't dependent on their geographic location for their jobs. So we are looking to attract people who can work anywhere. And with this package, it won't be the reason that they move to Frankfort, but it will be, it's a token to say, we're looking for people like you, look at our city. And hopefully, and I don't know what the dollar amount is, we're still working on that. We have staff working on that to determine what we can do and what's legal and what's appropriate. But it is something I hope that we can vote on in the very near future, because I think it seems like more and more I'm getting articles emailed to me or websites that I follow and bloggers that I follow. More and more there's these lists that are generated with cities that will pay you to move there, or cities that offer incentives to move there. And you see the same cities on there, and whether or not, I don't know how many people are actually moving to those cities, but they're on the list. And that's the most important thing right now, is we need to start getting on the list. I think for a lot of these workers, Frankfort's invisible, and we need to start making sure that we start to show up on the list, because then people will know that we are open to new residents and we're trying for new residents.
Right. And that is certainly something, because our community has a lot to offer people. And if they can live here and work anywhere, I think that's win-win.
I think it is. And I know I'm sure there's people out there that say that Frankfort doesn't have the amenities. And look, we're working on a lot of those amenities, and that's the quality of life issues that we're going to focus on, because we have to do both of these parallel. Right. We can't just wait until we have what we think is the best quality of life or amenities before we start looking for people. We have to start looking for people and developing that at the same time. Wow. Some people are going to move here. I mean, we live here. You and I both live here. Yeah. It can't be all bad. So I do think that we have to start attracting those people however we can, and then also work on the amenities as well. And like you said, because of the pandemic, and even before then, Frankfort was already attractive. It's even more so now. The commute's low, and if you're a remote worker, you don't have a commute, and if you can live somewhere where you can walk to a lot of places and then also get outdoors and do the recreational activities,
Right.
I think you can't beat it.
Yeah. Plus, we have a lot of exciting things on the horizon with the work we have going on the Second Street corridor, all of our work in downtown Frankfort. I'm especially excited about any of the riverfront development that we do. So those are just really some exciting things that we have going on in Frankfort that, I think would be a great asset to attract more people to live here.
I agree, Kathy. I think we're going to be looking back 20 years from now and hopefully say that, boy, things have really changed since then.
Right. And it doesn't happen overnight.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I'm going to close out here. And I just want to give you the opportunity. If people have questions about anything that we've talked about or anything going on in city government, how can they contact City Hall or you, or how's that working now?
They can call City Hall 875-8500 is the number. And you can also email me at lwilkerson@frankfort.ky.gov.
Awesome.
And again, I'm still absorbing all the emails that I get in. So I promise to respond to you. And I'm just trying to, hopefully not all at once.
Well, I certainly thank you for taking the time to meet with us. And I know that our viewers appreciate it as well. And we look forward to more opportunities like this as we progress through projects and events here in our city, that you'll be able to come back.
I hope we can do this regularly, Kathy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mayor. So far, so good, right? So thank you.
So far, so good. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, Kathy. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.